UFC 305, Du Plessis versus Adesanya, every fight to make next after the entire fight card. Now, we're going to be talking about a few of the losers, but mainly we are going to be looking at all of the winners from UFC 305. I got a banger matchup for Jairzinho Rozenstruik, a banger, absolutely insane matchup for Dan Hooker, and a few more on the prelims as well that you guys are really going to like. You're going to hate the one I have for Kai Kara-France, but let's get into it. We're going to start with Du Plessis and who he should fight next. Now, the one that I'm going to show you on the screen in about 3 seconds is not what I think should happen, but it's what's going to happen. Unfortunately, Dana White has already confirmed that this will be the case, and it is Sean Strickland versus Dricus Du Plessis. Now, the reason why it should not happen, but it's going to, again, Dana already said it's going to happen, but it shouldn't because Sean Strickland should fight Israel Adesanya. That should be the fight. Sean should fight the winner of Nasruddin Imavov, Brendan Allen. He should do that rematch. One of those fights for Sean, and Israel Adesanya should fight someone else. And the winner of Robert Whittaker, Khamzat Chimaev, they should really be the next one in line for the UFC title fight. I don't know how in the world Sean is getting the title fight off of beating number 8 Paulo Costa by a split decision. I know it was a weird scorecard there, but Robert Whittaker had a more impressive performance against Paulo Costa. He ended up knocking out Ikram, and he might actually go out there and beat Khamzat Chimaev. So first and foremost, this is probably what's going to happen. Dricus versus Sean Strickland, maybe in December, T-Mobile Arena main event. I don't know. Maybe that's possible. Maybe January main event. Maybe South Africa at UFC 311. I don't know when this fight's going to happen. Probably going to be next, but if it's up to me, I do Dricus Du Plessis versus the winner of Khamzat Chimaev and Robert Whittaker, and I do Sean Strickland versus either Israel Adesanya on the same card or next year, or I'll do Sean Strickland versus the winner of Brendan Allen versus Nasruddin Imavov. That'd be a rematch if Sean wins that. Give Sean another title fight. If Imavov or Allen beat Strickland, you got a new contender to go out and fight Dricus Du Plessis. I don't think Sean deserves the title fight at this point in time. They're just going to give it to him, though. Dana White has already said. So next one we do have, I told you guys you were going to hate it, but it's Kai Kara-France versus Bruno Silva. Now, the rationale here, Brandon Royval has a fight. He's taking on Tatsuro Taira. Pantoja already is going to have a fight. It's going to be with the Kaya Sakura guy from Japan at UFC 309. It's unconfirmed, but it's in the works, and that is likely what's going to be happening next. Brandon Moreno, Amir Albazi, they have both beaten Kai Kara-France. Kai was on a 2-fight losing streak before fighting against Steve Erceg, and they were two, Amir Albazi and Brandon Moreno. So no, Kai shouldn't jump above Amir to fight Brandon Moreno. They should do Amir versus Brandon Moreno. Kai can't fight Tatsuro Taira. Alex Perez coming off a loss. He doesn't deserve a fight in the top 5 after losing to number 5. Why would he get a bump up for losing? That doesn't make sense. He just beat Erceg. Nicolau is fighting someone, and he's on a 2-fight losing streak. Manel Kape is coming off a loss. Tim Elliott is in surgery, recovering from a bad injury in his knee. Tagir is on a win streak, but he's on coming off a weight miss trying to fight Joshua Van. I don't think he would deserve it. There really isn't anybody that would actually legitimately deserve a shot inside of that top 5. But the only guy that makes some semblance of sense to go up and fight Kai Kara-France, and that could easily be a highlight reel for either guy to go out there and get a knockout, to get a submission, would be Bruno Silva. Bruno's on a 4-fight finish streak. Kai's coming off a devastating round 1 knockout. If you do Kai and Bruno Silva on the co-main of any UFC fight night, and if Kai's able to knock out him 2 knockouts in a row, give my man Kai a title fight. And if Bruno wins, you have new blood in that UFC flyweight top 5, and you got a guy that's a finishing machine as well. So the main reason I'm doing this one is there's literally no other options for Kai Kara-France. Again, you could do the Moreno, you could do the Amir Albazi. He just doesn't deserve to fight them because he's coming off 2 losses and only 1 win on Steve Erceg. So that's my rationale there. I know you guys are going to disagree in the comments, though. There you go. The banger I was speaking of. Dan the Hangman Hooker 3-1 underdog. Let's give him Gaethje. And let's not do it this year. Hooker took a lot of damage. Gaethje just fought Holloway and took a lot of damage. So let's give these guys some time off. And, you know, let's have them fight 2025 Fight Night main event in front of a crowd. Former title challenger versus a former top 5 and probably about to be a future top 5. He's going to be ranked in that top 5 after this, I would assume, but maybe not. Maybe they'll put him at like 6 or 7 because he has lost to Chandler. So maybe Chandler will move to 5 and Hooker will go to 6. So we shall see, though. But that would be a banger, guys. Justin Gaethje, number 3 versus number 5 or number 6, Dan Hooker, in the main event of a UFC Fight Night with a crowd next year, January, February 2025. This is just straight fireworks, ladies and gentlemen. Next time we do have Sergey Pavlovich taking on Jairzinho Rozenstruik. Jairzinho split. I don't know why. Again, tied to Ivasa. I don't know how it was a split decision, but looking at the rankings, this is the fight that makes sense. Tom is going to fight the winner of Jones or Stipe, or they're both going to retire and he's going to be promoted to champ. Cyril's fighting Volkov. Pavlovich doesn't have a fight. Curtis already fought Pavlovich. I would do Curtis versus Sergey Spivak. We can do Jonathan Almeida versus the loser of Alexander Volkov and Cyril Gane. You can do something like that. And then, of course, Sergey Pavlovich is there. He's not going to fight Spivak. I already gave him to Curtis Blades. Stipe's got the title shot. So it really does leave Marcin Tybura, doesn't deserve that shot, and Jairzinho, who's on a win streak, at the number 10, number 11 spot on the rankings. Number 4 versus number 11. Let's do it on a pay-per-view. Let's, or not on a pay-per-view, not in a main event. That's what I'm trying to say. I don't want to do it 5 rounds, so let's make it 3 rounds. It could be on UFC 310. I wouldn't mind it. On the main card to open it up with Pavlovich and Jairzinho, or you can make it a 3-round fight on a UFC Fight Night, the final Fight Night of the year. Have this banger almost close out the night as the co-main. Absolutely amazing fight right there at 265 pounds. Carlos Prates, he called for this fight, so anyone out there saying, oh, Carlos Prates deserves a shot in the top 15. He should fight Luke Gay. He should fight Michael Page. First off, is the UFC really going to give Michael Page to Carlos Prates? Are they going to do Holland? Probably not. Magny as a fight. Buckley as a fight. Are they going to give him Jeff Neal? I highly, highly doubt it. So really leaves Vicente Luque as the only option there. And Vicente's probably going to hold on to that Nick Diaz fight, I would assume. So, you know, let's give him what he wanted. He wanted to fight Chaos Williams, UFC 310. I'm assuming if he wins that one, he'd probably win a ranked fight after that. Chaos is on a win streak. I believe he's 6-2 in the UFC, like 4 or 5 knockouts. So they're both power punchers. They both got crazy finishing ability. Do it. I mean, I like it. I love the call out. I think the winner definitely would deserve a shot inside of that top 15, especially if Chaos can knock out Carlos or Carlos can knock out Chaos. Let's do it. Let's have the avenging begin on November 9th, I believe. This is the first fight night. No, second fight night. I think this is an Apex one. So, yeah. Prelims for Justin Tafa. Let's have him try to avenge his brother and go knock out Johnny Walker's brother in Walter Walker on the prelims of November 9th's UFC Fight Nights. Either, again, same situation, a Walter Walker submission or grindy decision, or a Justin Tafa knockout. No in between, no other outcomes, but should be decently fun if the Walter Walker decision doesn't come in, which is possible, but it's a decent fight either way, and it has a good storyline there. Ricardo Ramos, I don't really want to give him a step up because it was a split decision. Wasn't a super impressive one aside from that submission attempt. He didn't really show any willingness and urge to go out there and finish the fight late in round number 3, so I don't want to give him a step up. I want to give him a guy coming on the come up, like Danny Silva, who's on a great win streak, or if Denis Bazukia can go out there as a dog and go out and beat Danny and knock him out, submit him, whatever. I love the matchup between Denis Bazukia, Ricardo Ramos. Both of these fights are very, very fun, stylistic matchups, in my opinion. I didn't really think a lot made sense for Ricardo Ramos because he's not like a future top 15 guy. He's just going to be outside the top 15, and he's going to be used as kind of a roadblock for a lot of guys to really prove, are they legit? You got to beat Ricardo Ramos before you get into that top 25 range of the UFC featherweight division. So both of these are definitely bangers. I believe they fight I know it's in August. I don't know if it's this weekend or if it's the week after, but both are good fights. Casey O'Neill, Veronica Hardy. Veronica's on a 3-fight win streak, and she's one of the most deserving girls to be fighting inside of the top 15. It hasn't been given that shot just yet. Casey O'Neill, 2 losses in a row. Then she beat Luana Santos. 1 win. I personally think if you're on 2 losses in a row, and you're ranked, I think you need to win 2 in a row over guys or girls that are coming below you. You win those 2, you prove that you're legit, and you prove that you're ranked caliber, then we give you a top 10 girl, top 15 girl, and back a step up in the UFC flyweight division. So Veronica Hardy, Casey O'Neill, let's do it. I don't know when they want to fight, so January, December, UFC Fight Night, 2nd fight of the main card. Top 15 versus a girl that's on a 3-fight win streak, sorry about that, in the women's flyweight division. Bill Algeo, Jack Jenkins. Jack had a very impressive win. He's 3-1 in the UFC, only losing a fluke injury to Chepe Mariscal. I would say let's set him up for a good win here. Bill Algeo hasn't really been looking the same, I'm gonna be honest, but he's still a test. He's still a very, very tough test for a lot of guys in the UFC featherweight division, but again, his chin has been looking a little weird. He's been knocked out, I think, twice in a row now by Doho Choi and Kyle Nelson in the featherweight division. If there's anyone else that could possibly go out there and knock him out and insert themselves into the top echelon of the featherweight division, that is Jack Jenkins. So let's test. Is Bill Algeo done? This is the fight for him. If he wins this fight, he's back in it. He's going to have some more good fights in the featherweight division. If he loses, might be time to start thinking about the longevity of your health and your chin and things like that. But this is what I would do. Jack Jenkins, Bill Algeo. Let's do it on the final fight card of the year. Put it on the prelims. Maybe you open it up with this banger. I mean, that'd be freaking amazing. The last fight card of the year, open it up with this absolute war at 145. And then last but not least, we do have Tom Nolan, Atman Azaitar. Tom is beating Victor Martinez and I swear to God, I'm already Alex Reyes. Jesus Christ, almost forgot the name. 2 guys that are probably no longer going to be in the UFC. Both guys that don't have any wins inside of the UFC. So, you know, we're not going to give him like freaking top 15 guy. We're not going to give him a guy right outside of the top 15. As of right now, I don't really look at him as a prospect, a future contender, or anything like that. He got knocked out by Nicolas Mota, so personally, I would like to see him just have a banger, have a war with Atman Azaitar at UFC 309. One man shall fall. Atman, if he's able to win, he's back. Atman's back. And if Tom's able to win this one, well, he's beating a guy. It's actually UFC caliber, because Alex Reyes and Victor Martinez, I don't really think so. So was able to go out there and win here. That'd kind of prove a little bit for me on the Tom Nolan side. And he'd have a really good record at that point. 3-1 is a very, very hard record to attain in the UFC's lightweight division, one of the best weight classes in the UFC. We got Kenan Song taking on Johnny Parsons. Johnny just got injured and pulled out of his last fight with Kinatu. How do you say that? Yusaku Kinoshita. I almost said that one wrong. But that was a Japanese fighter, so let's give him a Chinese fighter this time in Macau on the UFC prelims. You can do it as the feature prelim right before the main card and have these 2 guys just go to war in the UFC welterweight division. Very, very fun fight. Last but not least, Jesus Aguilar, 3-1. A lot of 3-1 guys that we've been talking about today, but let's do him versus Jimmy Flick. They're both submission machines in the UFC. They're both finishing machines when they go out there and win. So let's put them against each other. Jimmy Flick loses, I'm sorry to say, he's probably going to be cut from the UFC. And if Jesus Aguilar loses, I think he's probably going to have a new contract anyway, because he's 3-1. That's probably going to get him a new contract, so he'll still be good. But this is a good test to see, does Jimmy Flick still belong in the UFC? Let's give him Jesus Aguilar, who's very, very legit. So that's what I got for you guys. Jesus versus Jimmy Flick, Kenan Song versus Johnny Parsons, Atman Azaitar versus Tom Nolan, Jack Jenkins, Bill Algeo, Veronica Hardy, Casey O'Neill, Danny Silva or Dennis Bazukja versus Ricardo Ramos, Walter Walker versus Justin Tafa, Carlos Prates, Chaos Williams, Jairzinho Rozenstruik versus Sergey Pavlovich. We got Dan the Hangman Hooker taking on Justin Gaethje in the main event, and we do have Bruno Silva taking on Kai Kara France and Sean Strickland taking on Dricus. Again, I don't think this fight is the one that should be made next, but I think it's the fight that is gonna be made next by the UFC. Again, I think it should be Dricus versus the winner of Whitaker and Khamzat Chimaev. And I think Sean should rematch Adesanya, or Sean should go out and fight the winner of Imavov and Brendan Allen. But that's what I got for you. Fights to make next. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.